deal been completed, or can you
Yeah,
give us
it was
details?
just completed. We ended up getting Boston's third round pick this year, their fifth round pick next year, and prospect Kamara will be from the AHL team.
Are there corresponding moves that'll happen now from Charlotte? Do you know what those are yet?
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about it probably in the plane, and then we'll probably call up a few guys based on where we are. We have a couple guys that are banged up, may or may not be able to play, so we'll have to call some guys up to fill those spots.
Any discussions about other players that you had contending free agents, and what was the level of interest in some of the other guys you might have been able to consider moving?
We had a lot of conversations. At the end of the day, I think you know, these were the deals that we could do. That you know, there was a lot of conversation on other players, but nothing really that was concrete.
Ron, you've been in the player's position before. What's the biggest thing you'd say you've learned through this experience of these big transactions and just being on the other end of it?
I don't think it's either on either side, or easy on either side. I think you know, I think it's difficult for a player. You come to work every day, you work hard, and you try to be successful, and then you know, when we fall short like we did, you know, we have to do the things we did in the last few days to look for the big picture in the long term. It's not easy for the players. It's not easy for our fans. You know, to finally get some excitement back in a playoff stretch drive, and when we looked at it realistically, we didn't think at the end of the day, you know, when you look at the points, it's one thing. When you look at the games in hand, it's kind of tough, and some of the injuries we're dealing with, we weren't at 100%. So, you know, you have to make those tough decisions, and we felt this was the direction we could go in. I still believe in the guys in the locker room, and I know they're not going to quit. They're going to compete in battle, and I would put it against them to continue to surprise people down the stretch here.
How would you assess overall the past 3 days, Stahl, Bruschi, and Lyles compared to what you sort of expected coming into the weekend?
Well, you know, I think in Eric's case, we've had ongoing dialogue. It probably became more apparent after the losses on last Thursday and Friday. You know, so it's never easy when you trade a guy that's been with the organization for a long time. He's been the face of this franchise. He's represented us well on the ice, off the ice. So that's always a difficult thing. You know, I think we put him in a place where he wanted to be and has a chance to be successful. And you know, we get some picks and an asset, but at the end of the day, we have a big hole we have to fill. You know, Chris came in the summertime, the late deal, you know, with Nordstrom and a third round pick. I thought he was a good pro for us, worked hard, and you know, had just a very class act for me in the way he handled things at the end. And again, we got a young prospect, a guy that was drafted 37th by LA. They traded up to actually take that year. Had a pretty successful junior career. I know they were high on him early. I think maybe a change the scenery is what we're hoping for him, that will kind of spark him again and get him going, and then we have a chance with him. And then with Johnny this afternoon, you know, we got some good young D, and he's been a great mentor for those guys. It's always disappointing to have to move out a guy that's been a good role model for young kids, but you know, again, we got some more picks and prospects. So, you know, now we've got an abundance of picks. We have to, you know, look at the next stage, and is that drafting the right players? Is it turning those picks around for other assets and going our lineup?
Was the Rangers one of the few places that were one to go to, and after you told, was he somewhat excited about the heading out there?
Well, I mean, I think it was no secret that you know, his brother Mark's there, so if he had to go someplace, that was a place that he would like to go. You know, as I said, yes, I don't want to give the details of how many teams he gave me or didn't give me, but the fact of the matter was he didn't have to waive his no move, and he did to allow us to do that deal. So we appreciate that.
What was going off the minor league goalie trades today? What were you doing there?
Max had a little bit of an off year, and actually had a text from his agent earlier this morning asking if you know, maybe we can move him and give him a fresh start. So we did that. What didn't come, we actually went and acquired John Hughes, who'd been in Charlotte in the past, so he'll come in there. You know, they've had a sort of an up and down season. They won a bunch in a row, and then they've lost a bunch in a row, and we're hoping maybe this sort of solidifies the goaltending position for Charlotte moving forward.
so much is gonna happen between now and this summer, but now that you've moved 3 veteran contracts, you have an opportunity to go all in young. I'm sure you'll find opportunities like the Versteeg trade closer to camp. Do you have just a general sense anyway of what, you've had this vision from the very start. That's what you said, we're going to draft and develop. Do you have some sense of how you'd like the roster to go next year, whether you're gonna go very young or mix and match?
Well, I think you gotta be very careful going all young. I think if you can find the right veteran to, whether it's a partner for a defenseman or whether it's a winger or someone on the line to settle down the young guys and help them sort of grow through the process, I think those are valuable pieces. I do think, we're gonna have some situations where we have draft picks we can move. We might be in a position where other teams, if the cap doesn't go up as much as people think, may have to move assets in the summertime, and I think we're gonna be in a good position to be able to acquire some of those assets if those situations present themselves. And I think with the amount of picks, we're also in a position to draft some good young players. And so we're constantly looking at all those options and exploring them all, and we'll continue to do that here moving forward after I get some sleep.
If you guys do go young, how do you plead with the fans to kind of hang in there, because that's your goal of eventually getting to the playoffs year after year after year? Is there something you'd like to say to them if you do go
Well,
young?
we went with a young defense this year. Everybody thought we were crazy because we had such a young blue line. We started the season, I think Noah was 18, Pesci was 20, and Slavin was 21 when they were in the lineup. And yet you look at how well that defense played. So, I think age is a number. I think if you get the right piece and the right player, it doesn't matter if they're young or older, they can contribute to success. And I think the exciting part is there are a lot of those young pieces already here. We think there's some more in the pipeline. How quickly they get here is another thing, and then what we can do here in the next window, hopefully, we can speed that process up to attaining our goal, and that's being where we want to be in the playoffs and doing it year after year.
Those young D were already beyond their years maturity-wise, as you just said. So in what ways do you think they maybe grew beyond their years playing-wise with this season nearing down to the first NHL career for many of them?
Well, I just think it's, 2 of them were in college last year. Well, 3 of them were in college, and Noah actually a couple of years ago was in prep school playing hockey. So there's a lot that they're trying to learn, whether it's systems, whether it's the league, what guys' tendencies are, how strong they are, things they have to pick up. So it's not just what they're doing every day, it's mentally trying to learn the game as well too. So it's been a process for them. I think they've handled it extremely well. There's always a risk with young guys that maybe they have a half a step backwards before they take the next step forward. We'll have to see how that goes next summer, but they all appear to me to be strong character individuals and guys that understand where they're in and willing to put the time and effort in the summer to make sure they don't take those steps back, that they continue to grow and get better. You look at all the great teams, they all have great defense, and I think that's a key aspect and an area we think we're really moving in the right direction towards solidifying. Do we need to upgrade in other areas? Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to do.
We were able to talk to Jordan Stahl after the game last night. Have you been able to sit down with him at all and talk about this whole situation and certainly moving forward, what you'd like out of him and without his brother being there?
Yeah, I got about 30 seconds with him yesterday. It was a little busy before the game. After we had my discussion with Eric, I grabbed Jordan just for a couple of minutes to talk to him about it. And at some point, I'm sure when we get away here a little bit, we'll sit down and have a conversation. But we just didn't have that chance to have that yet.
How do you feel like he'll react, just in knowing him?
I think he'll be fine. I think Jordan's played some amazing hockey for us here the last couple of months. He's been an absolute bull on the ice, and it's not just him. When you lose a guy like Eric, it's a big void, but it's we've got a lot of young players, and Jordan included. It's an opportunity for them to take another step forward, assume some more of that leadership role, and kind of steer the ship in the direction that they want it to go, and the direction we want it to go.
When Mr. Karmanos preached patience, 18 months ago or so, it seems like now the fan base at least has kind of bought into your vision of patience and building. Do you think the young players playing as well as they have is really what's done that? It's let people accept the fact that Eric Stahl's gone, Lyles is gone, Versteeg is gone?
Well, I don't think it's, I'm sure there's fans that aren't happy with what happened here the last couple of days. I mean, for the first time in a while, we were legitimately in a playoff run in February, which hasn't happened around here in a long time. So, but you know, you run the risk of chasing that, and when you look at, you know, do we really have a legitimate odds to get in or not? Yeah, it certainly can happen, and I wouldn't rule it out against our guys, but if you chase that and you don't get there, you know, now we've almost taken the progress we made to this point and gone backwards, and you know, I don't think we could afford to do that as an organization or as a team. So that's why we went the direction we went in.
How much of today was you pursuing opportunities you wanted to improve yourself, and you fielding calls from everybody else, seeing what you were willing to put out there?
Yeah, I know. Today's a little bit of a crazy day, because if you don't have something legit, you know, you probably don't want to be wasting other guys' time and just kind of throwing out some fishing stuff, because things happen quick. So you have, it's ongoing dialogue. It certainly intensifies over the last couple of weeks, but you're having those conversations. You know, guys looking to make hockey deals, they're looking to make them now, they're waiting to make them after the season, between then and the draft. So you get a real sense of what everybody's thinking. If there's something that makes sense, then you're pursuing that on the buying end. If there's something that doesn't make sense, you know, on buying, then you have to stay patient and wait till the right opportunity's there. So we work, you know, as a management team on a lot of different aspects. At the end of the day, these were the ones that we could get done, and you know, we're comfortable with that. We still know we got a lot of work to do, and we turn the page and get on to the next step.
It looks like the two
Last
prospects that
question,
you brought
please.
in are guys who you can expect to at least be here at training camp and push for a spot next year. Is that part of the thought with those two guys?
Well, the Zaharella kid, you know, I talked to him today. You know, I saw him play in the U18s last year. Real good player for me, good prospect. Saw him again in the World Juniors this year when I was looking at Aho on the Finnish team that won the gold medal. So again, he had a great tournament. You know, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points in that tournament. He's playing in the men's league in Finland, and second leading scorer in his team, leading scorer in the team in goals. So, I mean, there is a possibility. At the end of the day, he's still 19 years old, so I can't sit here and say he's going to make it or not. If he does, that'd be an awesome, you know, awesome find for us that quickly. But again, every individual player is young. You know, Zykov looked early like he was going to be a can't miss and struggled a little bit, so we got to find a way to get him back on track, and then maybe we got a prospect there. It's a process with all these guys, and it's trying to getting to know each and every one of them individually, so that you're trying to do what's best for them. Is it best to have them here? Is it best to have them in Charlotte? You know, you have to treat each one, I think, as an individual and do what's best for them.
Thanks, John.
Thanks so much.